Alright, today's lesson is from Saxon Course 2 and it's lesson 93. We're going to be talking about two-step equations and then we're going to move on into two-step equations with inequalities. And I think we've already done at least some two-step equations before, so that shouldn't be too new to you. However, the inequalities part, bringing that in is a little bit new. So we're going to start off with what we know, and then we're going to move into what we haven't seen before, but you're going to be like, oh, that's all it is? I got this. All right. So when we solve two-step equations, basically what we're trying to do is balance the equation. So if we have 2x plus 5 equals 35, we have 2x plus 5 on this side, and we have 35 on this side. So we're trying to balance it. And to balance that problem, we're going to take the 5 that was right here, and we're going to subtract it from both sides. So we did 2x plus 5 minus 5 right here, and then we also subtracted 5 on this side. So we end up on each side, we have 2x on this side and 30 on this side. So 2x equals 30. But that's only the first step. We have another step. The next step, we're going to start off with 2x equals 30, and we're going to divide both sides by 2. So 2x divided by 2 and 30 divided by 2. And those 2's are going to cancel each other out and isolate your x. And 30 divided by 2 is 15. So we end up with x right here equals 15 on the other side. So that is, in a nutshell, our two-step equations, which we've done before and you've seen many times. So I want you to pause the video and solve this problem. Remember, you're going to do the opposite of what you see. So if you see a subtraction sign, you're going to add. If you know you're multiplying or they're multiplying, you're going to divide. Go ahead and pause the video. All right, let's see what you came up with. So the first thing you should have done is added 15 to both sides. Negative 15 plus 15 is 0, so that cancels it out. So we end up with 8x equals 185 plus 15, which is 200. Then we're going to divide both sides by 8. We have 200 divided by 8. 8 will go into 22 times, the remainder of 4. 8 will go into 45 times with 0 remainder. So x equals 25. So that's our final answer. How'd you do? Good. All right, let's try this one. Now we have decimals. Make sure that you show all your steps. I see a lot of people in their homework just writing down an answer. Absolutely not. That is not okay. I expect to see all of your work. Don't skip the steps. It even says in the directions, show all the steps. Show them. So I want to see that you subtracted from both sides. That cancels out. This one I have to put 0.0 to make it work and borrow. So make sure you pause your video and finish it, and we'll see what you came up with. Alright, so you should have done 10 minus 2 and gotten 8, and 5 minus 1 and gotten 4, and then you had 4/10 x equals 4 8/10. Divide both sides by 4/10. And then we're going to do 4 8/10 divided by 4/10, which, remember, you got to move your decimal over to make that happen. So 4 into 48 is 12. So x equals 12. How'd you do? Did you remember to move your decimal over? If you did, give yourself a pat on the back. And if you know what to do next time, pat yourself on the back. Good job. All right, this one, go ahead and pause the video and give it a shot. All right, good. Did you subtract 1.5 first from both sides? So that cancels that out. So we end up with 2/10 y. And we do 7 minus 5 is 2, and 3 minus 1 is 2. Keep our decimal. Good. Then divide both sides by 2/10. over here, 2 and 2/10 divided by 2/10. Don't forget, move that decimal over. So 2 will go into 22 11 times, so y is 11. You got it? Good job. Oh, don't let the decimal get you. Okay, those decimals, you have to make sure you move them. You can't have a decimal in your divisor. Oh, we've got fractions, and we have negative fractions, but don't let that scare you. We've got this. Okay? Remember, if you're adding and subtracting with fractions, you need a common denominator. Take a breath. You've got this. Okay, let's try it. So we're going to start by adding 1/2 to both sides. I can't do 1/3 plus 1/2. I have to change them into 6 because that's my common denominator. So I'm going to end up with 2 6 plus 3 6. So this cancels out and I end up with negative 2/3 x equals 2 plus 3 is 5 over 6 equals 5 6. Now, do I want to divide by a fraction? Everyone say, no, we don't. We want a reciprocal. Yes, reciprocals. And we're going to keep our reciprocal negative. So we're going to have negative 3/2 because a negative times a negative is a positive, and we want a positive x. So we're going to do this times negative 3/2. So that cancels that out, and we end up with x. And then we're going to do 5 times negative 3, which is negative 15, and 6 times 2 is 12. So end up with negative 15/12, which gives me 12 will go into negative 15 one time with the remainder of 3/12. And you should know that 3/12 is the same as 1/4. So our final answer is negative 1 and 1/4. It's a little bit tricky. How'd you do? Okay, good. I'm glad that you remembered to change it to that, to a common denominator, because that is vital for this problem. If you forgot to change or to simplify, that's okay, but I want you to start really remembering that because we're at the point that really we should be doing that all the time. We should see what needs to be simplified. All right, try this one on your own. Pause the video. All right, let's see what we got. So the first thing I've got to do is I've got to add 1/3 to both sides. So plus 1/3 plus 1/3. And I can't do 1/2 plus 1/3. Instead, I've got to do 6. So I've got 3 6 plus 2 6 again. We've seen that before, so that's going to give us 5 6. And then we want to, good, multiply by the reciprocal. I'm glad you remembered that. So we have 4/3 times 4/3 over here. And then I'm going to reduce before I even multiply, because 6 divided by 2 is 3 and 4 divided by 2 is 2. And so this cancels out and isolates my variable. 5 times 2 is 10. 3 times 3 is 9. That's 10/9. 9 will go into 10 one time with the remainder of 1/9. So m is 1 and 1/9. How'd you do? Don't forget to simplify. Yes, you got this. We got this. All right, let's try another one. All right. Hey, wait, they put it on the opposite side. It's okay. It's all right. We have two choices. We can either solve it like it is, or we can move it over. We can put 3x plus 6 equals negative 15, and that's okay too. Either way is fine. You choose how you want to do it. I'm going to leave it like this. I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. And that cancels that out and leaves 3x by itself. And I don't want to subtract, I want to add. So negative 15 plus negative 6 is negative 21. Good. I like that you know to divide both sides by 3. And then x equals negative 7. Good job. I'm glad you kept hold on to that negative. All right, let's try another one. Okay, pause the video. Try it on your own. All right, let's try it. I'm going to move my picture so it's kind of out of my way. All right, and I'm going to solve it this way. I'm going to add 26 to this side, and I'm going to add 26 to this side. And that's going to cancel that out and leave me with 4W. And then 26 plus 38. 6 plus 8 is 14. 2 plus 3 is 5 plus 1 is 6. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 4. 64 divided by 4. 4 will go into 6 one time. 4 will go into 24 6 times. And so we have 16 equals W. So it's okay if you leave it on that side. It still solves the same, but if you switch the sides, it's all right. You probably still got the same answer. Good job. All right, here's our new thing. Drum roll, please. All right, just kidding about the drum roll. All right, so now we have inequalities. You'll notice you have less than. Oh, I forgot that I had my eraser on. Come on, write it back. All right, so we have 2x minus 5 is greater than or equal to 1. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is we have to solve for x and see what x is. So we're going to do that the same way that we were solving when we had an equal sign there. We're going to add the 5 to both sides, which cancels this out. So we have 2x is greater than or equal to 6. And again, the same way that we were solving our equations, we're going to divide both sides by 2 so we can isolate our variable. So x is greater than or equal to 6 divided by 2, which is 3. And then, of course, when they have inequalities, they always want us to graph them. So if x is greater than or equal to 3, we're going to put a closed dot on the 3, and we're going to draw a line over all the numbers that are greater than 3. So there's our arrow, and make sure you put your arrowhead on the end for your final answer. And remember, when you're doing this on your own, try to find a different color so that it's really obvious on that you drew an arrow there. All right, try this one on your own. Good job. All right, let's see what you did. You should have first subtracted 5 from both sides. That would have canceled that out. So 2x is greater than or equal to 1 minus 5, which is the same as 1 plus negative 5, which is negative 4. Divide both sides by 2. So x is greater than or equal to negative 4 divided by 2, which is negative 2. And then you are to graph it. And it says x is greater than or equal to negative 2. So you're going to draw a closed dot because it's greater than or equal to on negative 2. And it's greater than, so all the numbers that are greater than negative 2, which means it goes to the right. And don't forget to put your arrowhead on the end. All right, good job. One more. Let's give it a shot. Go ahead and pause the video. Don't forget to graph it before you start the video up again. All right, let's see what you did. You should have started by adding 5 to both sides, which cancels that out and leaves 2x by itself is less than 1 plus 5, which is 6. We're going to isolate the variable by dividing both sides by 2. So x is less than 6 divided by 2, which is 3. Then you drew your number line. And x is less than 3. And it's not less than or equal to, it's less than 3. So we're going to draw an open circle this time. And then we're going to draw a line over all the numbers that are less than 3. So it's going to the left this time. And don't forget your arrowhead because it goes way beyond the negative 3, right? On and on forever. To infinity and beyond. All right, so that's what your graphing should look like. How'd you do? Great. All right, make sure that you do the practice that I gave you so that you can continue to learn and grow and practice the skill so that you are ready to do it every time it comes up in written practice. Have a wonderful day.